All right, so today I'm heading, oh, what was that? Take two. Today I'm heading over, oh my God, all the background noise. I'm heading over to someone who is so cool. I had a call with her last week and she was so fun to chat to, so I know you guys are gonna love it. Don't know who that is. So much interference today on the roads. Today, I was trying to think of an intro, but there's only really one thing I can say. Today, I get my tongue electrocuted and I inhale gin and tonic. Check this out.
Makers of Barcelona, or Mob as it's known to the locals, is one of the original co-working spaces in Barcelona. Yet it's different because it's packed with modern and futuristic 3D printing machines and CAD design product making devices, all at your disposal as a member of their co-working community. And just downstairs, you'll find a Makers Studio called Futurity Studios, run by the amazing Cecilia Tham, or Cici to her friends.
Come on in, I want to show you something. My dog, Moby. So I want to show you this first. So this is what we've been working on. It's a protestware called Blur. With all this benefit, the protest that is happening, we wanted to do something to see if we can be hidden in many senses, in the digital sense, in the physical sense, right? And so in the physical sense, you have these drapes that you can drape in front of your face. But we have things like the LED strips that when
so the LED strips,
here, and so when you put it on and there's a flashlight that goes off, the LED will go off that will wash your face so that you can't be photographed. And then there are other things like the RFID Faraday protection so that you cannot be tracked or traced. And there are other things that we're working on so that you can be underground and not be tracked during a protest.
Is this good or bad for protests?
It's great for protest. People should have the right to protest, in a civil way.
Yeah.
But we're also looking into how these could be applicable in other situations, cool. Right? And so nowadays we know that AI is being used in stores. People are tracking your face to see if you're interested in to purchase certain things. Yeah. What if you can hide yourself from that, or what if you can protect yourself from these kinds of things?
It's about anonymizing people
Absolutely.
in an environment where they shouldn't be trapped, as
or
opposed to
exposed.
letting them be anonymous to allow them to commit anything that's not allowed.
Yes.
For example. Okay, gotcha.
Correct.
That's interesting.
So
all right.
As a prototype, but
making, and we're in the prototyping studio. Give us a wave.
In addition to being a beloved member of Barcelona's startup ecosystem, Cici is an advisor to the UN's World Food Programme and co-founder of All Women, the first campus created to educate women in data science and deep tech. So I'll upload our full interview as a podcast. But for now, enjoy this highlight underneath the beautiful blue skies of Barcelona.
Cici, where are we right now?
So yeah, we're in my co-working space, my
Cool.
my first venture.
Yeah.
And started this, 2011, so it's been nine years.
What made you think about creating a co-working space? Was it inspired from somewhere, or?
My ex, the father of my kids, got me a sewing machine. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh okay. Okay, whatever.
Is this your way of telling me I should be an old wife from the 50s?
More or less, right? Yeah. Might as well get me the set with the vacuum and stuff, right? But it was there, was sitting in the kitchen table, and I said, why don't I give it a try? And I sewed, and I absolutely loved it. And it was really surprising, and I held up two pieces of cloth that I have sewn a seam together, and it was miraculous. Okay. Like, I did this. Yeah. And then I realized, at that particular moment, the act of making increases my self-confidence. Okay. And I thought that was amazing. And I said to myself, do people know this? Do people know that when they make stuff, that they increase their self-confidence? And then I thought, well, but what if we do things together? Because in the act of making, the first thing I did was, oh my God, can you see what I've done? And so there was the thought of like, well, let's create a space where people can make stuff together. And that was kind of the birth of Makers of Barcelona, which is where we are now, this kind of collective and community of people who wants to make stuff together and create stuff together. And now it has kind of sort of transformed into this place where it's not just about making physical stuff, but You can make businesses, you can make, ideas, you can make friendships, you can make, just beyond the traditional kind of hobby making type of understanding. We're living in a very pivotal moment in a sense that, and I talk about this all the time because for me it's really mind blowing, because never have we in the history of humans. I'm going to make a big statement here. Yeah. Never in the history of humans have we ever had this amazing access to resources, meaning that on one hand we have technology that's really low cost, right? You have 3D printers that you can buy $200-$300. You can do laser cutting in fab labs, and it's fairly low cost. And at the same time, you have access to financing, like platforms like crowdfunding and whatnot. You can have access to investments even that you have never had before. And then you go into communication, right? Before you have to go into big newspapers, big magazines, and sell your idea, but now you can do it social media on your own, and you can get your ideas out. And then the last bit is knowledge. We know that through internet, you can take any classes in. So the combination of all four created a new type of person. And this type of person, so if you go back, you go back in time, historically you have three different kind of types of person, right? You have the person who is the blue collar, so the person who's making stuff, and you have the white collar guy who's the guy behind the computer, the design guy, or the service guy, right? And then you have the consumer, and these are three very, sometimes different classes, different types of people. But now, because of the four things, the four access to resources that I was talking about earlier, now this person could be just one. This pro-consumer, doer, I don't know, this mix of the person who had the capability to think of an idea, design the idea, prototype the idea, implement the idea, and all of that for himself, have the closing the loop of innovation, right? Because he's doing it all for him, and we have never had that access before, which means that all of a sudden people, us, you and me, have an elevated innovation power that we have never had, and individuals are innovating at the rate of in the capacity as companies, and not only so companies are doing at the same capacity as maybe even surpassing governments. Right, so like everyone has been kind of uplifted in their capabilities, and that for me it's a little bit of what we're seeing in the maker movement and even the entrepreneur movement.
It's the democratization of entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
I couldn't agree with you more, because something I always love I passionately speak about, and I think we actually had a chat on our pre-call about this, was the fact that entrepreneurship, as you just mentioned previously, obviously it was a game reserved for those who either had the money, either had access to the money, who had the luxury of having parents who could pay for them, so they didn't take a salary, whatever it was, right? Also the fact that if you went back and tried to build something as simple and plain vanilla as e-commerce today, which anyone right now today, you and I right now, go, all right, what are we going to sell? We're going to sell dog jumpers you're going to make, because you still have the skill set, right? So we're going to make those. We're going to call them Moby dogs. I don't know, cool name. Yes. And I go on 99 Designs, and I get a graphic designer for like $99, $100 done. Beautiful logo. I get to pick from 100 different ones, right? $100 we spent, or probably maybe even less, right? Then we're like, okay, we need to build an e-commerce website. Yeah. What do? We go to Shopify, we go to Squarespace, $20 each a month, bang.
And now you have
literally, the cost to create a company has come down so far. The cost to the time cost as well has come down so far. Anyone can do that, but I still feel like there's a natural hurdle for people to understand the world of it. So what do you do here to sort of activate that next generation, or that next wave of makers?
Oh, I think there was this really amazing thing I read a couple of years back called the mirror neurons.
Mirror neurons.
And that I loved, and I got really fixated on it. So there were I would say 20 years ago. Don't quote me on this. I don't remember what year it was.
Put it in the comments.
Where there was a scientist, and he was doing this experiment on a monkey. There's a connection. I'll explain why.
We'll get there. Disclaimer: don't click off yet because it's a monkey testing. Yeah.
There's a monkey, and he was connected with electrodes in a kind of sealed room, and the scientist wanted to test the monkey and give it the tool. And so while had this kind of nutcracker, that's what it's. Opening a nutcracker, and then electrodes, and then like you can see in the screen in the other room the activities of the brain of this monkey. And then all of a sudden, another scientist came in, and the scientist took the nutcracker away from the monkey, and he started cracking nuts the scientist, not the monkey. And what was really surprising was that all of a sudden the monkey had this exact same wave activities as if he was cracking the nuts himself. And those are called mirror neurons. Okay. And then I got really surprised.
What was the monkey watching?
The monkey was watching the person doing it, but he wasn't doing it himself. Yeah. But the brain had activity as if he was doing it himself. And so that for me was really revealing in the sense that, wow, imagine you're a co-working space and you see other people making, you see other, no, Moby. Moby, no.
Moby, come in.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Imagine the kind of capability when you see other people making, and you see, other ideas coming in fruition, and what kind of things that is happening in your brain, right? So we often, do a lot of activities. We often say that our kind of community gatherings as a kind of feeding for the creative, because you see other people doing things, you get new ideas, and then you get hands-on capabilities, and then you start doing something new, and we all feed onto each other in terms of how we're gonna create something new. And that is kind of sort of our main goal is how can we create the community that is really driven by the act of making, whether it is business, whether it is hardware, whether it is an idea in the future.
What are you guys doing now with Mob, and where are you seeing that? Is this with Futuristic, what it's called?
Futurity Studio.
That's the one. Tell me more about that.
So Futurity Studio started with this idea of understanding the future space. So there are a lot of companies that are already doing this, like Accenture. You have a company like Accenture. All of the consultancy firms that are doing trend reports. But what is lacking is that what we realize is that companies are they can't see the future, right? So you might have these trends, you might even map out, what potential these technologies or these projections can cause. But they're lacking understanding what opportunity could come out of that space, right? So what we really wanted to do is fill that gap. And so what we do is we do have a couple of things. So we do what Accenture does. We take the insights and we do analysis, we do research, but we take the insights out of it, and then we built a world. So the world could have a horizon of 10, 20 years. That future world, actually worlds, because there's no singular future. We built a couple of scenarios, and that within that scenario, we design an object, a future potential product or a service or a new business model, and in that realm, this new thing happens, right? And we call that a future artifacts. And then we reverse engineer and see how we can design the roadmap and the strategy from where we are today to that particular product. And so that's kind of sort of the loop. So we start with research, science, technology, and then we go to design, and then we go to venture, hence the name Venture Studio. We're going to be testing some of the prototypes on you in a little bit. We're working with an organization like NASA on space nutrition. We're working with World Food Program in the future of food security. And so we're a couple of interesting projects where this future vision is very much needed. And also the ability to kind of backcast and create the roadmap to this desirable futures is also very much needed. So.
One thing that stands out from that is obviously you started during COVID, right? And there's a famous example given, which is "Don't waste a good crisis." And I forget who said it, right? But I know it's easier said than done, of course, and it's a terrible example to give when a lot of people are struggling, right? But what have you seen as the opportunities come out of this environment and this world we live in right now?
Oh, one major thing is that one thing we've noticed with COVID, it had expedited a lot of stuff. Things that were moving very slow, because people are naturally just wanted to follow the status quo, right? Yeah. Because it's changing is an uphill effort. But with COVID, a lot of things that we didn't think could happen, it's happening. And the one major thing that is really surprising for me is that all of a sudden, what people had understood as their boundaries, so that it's not crossable, all of a sudden it has dissolved. And so companies would have never, ever thought letting people work from home, ever. But then nothing really happened, right? People work from home, their productivity hasn't really gone down. If not, some study is suggesting that the productivity has gone up. And so because they realize that boundary is breakable, they have to now say, well, if that boundary can be broken, what other boundaries can I can we adopt? What other things can we look into? What other things that we can experiment with? And that for me is really and I'm talking on the company level, but on an individual level, on you and me level, on an entrepreneur level, it's all happening. And so we're gonna see a lot of innovation because people are more receptive in testing out some of their boundaries. I think. If you like this video, please click on like, yes, and subscribe to this because more better stuff will be coming soon.
This is pretty golden. There will be some good things, I promise, and more dogs.
And more dogs. And more dogs.
Anyway,
yes.
To conclude.
Well,
no, to carry on because now I want to be a guinea pig for all of you to test out this thing. So yeah, what are we going to test today? Fill me in.
We are going to test two things. I think the first one is electronic edibles. And so you can induce taste electronically. So we're going to probe you with electrodes on your tongue.
Nice.
The tip of the tongue is sweet, the side is salty, and the back is sour. And if you're lucky, you might even taste umami. And then the second thing that we're going to try is called a vapor hole. And you're going to vape alcohol with different scents. And this is in our futurity lab, which is the Future of Food lab. And what we're trying to aim at is whether we can and have the experience of food without the actual food itself. And so it's a combination of multiple sensorial experiences, and we're trying to replicate your food experiences.
Amazing.
But the interesting thing is that if you can separate these things, you can separate taste, you can separate smell, you can separate even nutrients in this sense, you can recombine them in any way you want. And so you will be able to have senses and smells and experience that you have never had. And so once we're able to replicate what we're eating now, then you can do the outer world experiences of virtual food.
Okay. So here we go.
So, as the logic dictates, you can stimulate different areas of the tongue and taste different sensations. So from sweet, salty, sour, and to bitter. Oh, this is the tongue, by the way. And ultimately, therefore, by stimulating different sensations, you should feel happy. That's me being happy.
Try not to dribble. But seriously, honestly,
yes.
I don't know whether it's all the same sensation.
In the back, you can try. That's also sour.
Yeah, that's sourish.
Sourish.
I'd say it's all. I'm feeling something for all of it, but I honestly, I'm feeling something for all of it. But I think it's like I'm feeling the same thing to 80%, and then there might be some change in the other. So like I'm definitely. Yeah. Okay, so let's go again. So
temperature also.
When you put a wet rag on my head.
So temperature also changes your sense of taste. Okay. So if you have ice rubbed on top.
Yeah.
And the other thing that also changes is because you just had coffee.
Yeah.
The pH level in your mouth might already have altered your sense of taste.
It's silver. That's also gonna change how you're.
Wow. Okay. Someone's earrings.
Yes. But
real high tech, huh?
Nice sanitized.
Are these going in my ears or where are these going?
It goes into your tongue, but this is a different experience. Too strong?
I smelled burning for a second. I was like,
do you want to lower? If you're uncomfortable, we can lower it.
I wouldn't say I was uncomfortable with it. I don't know what is comfortable with this. Is any of this comfortable? I don't know. All right, here we go. So back with the earrings, the silver earrings, and the anode and cathode.
All right, now I'm going to try a gin vapor that's been enclosed in a glass with a layer of edible soap bubbles. Very Heston Blumenthal.
You guys ready for this? Okay. So I'm very careful. I can see the layer on there. And come up?
Yes.
Oh my God. So you guys can't see this, but there's actually a layer there, right? So,
Just sniff it.
okay. Oh, it buzzed. Look. Wow, it tasted amazing. It actually tastes like a gin and tonic.
It's a gin and
wow.
tonic,
Can I have another one, please? Yeah. Wow, and breathe this in again. Yeah? Okay. Oh, that's delicious. That makes it like orange. That's so delicious. Yeah. I honestly feel like I'm just smelling an orange juice that's been freshly squeezed and I'm about to drink it. Now I want one, actually. That's the problem with this, I guess.
There are potentials of
Check this out, guys. So I have to test out what this one is now. Okay, ready? Oh my God, that's so delicious. But that, I was getting basil. Yes. It's basil. Yes. Nailed it. Yes. Cheers, guys. Thank you so much. All right, I think it's time to go now before I get tested again. Bye-bye, Moby. Bye, ladies. Thank you so much. Ciao. Ciao, ciao. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that one. I'll see you in the next episode, I guess. Cheers.
Lately, you've been getting me down, getting me down. If you leave, I will be just fine, be just fine. In the beat, I can get so high, get so high.
Jackpot. I hope you enjoyed that episode as much as I did making it. If you got any tips, recommendations to how to make things better, let me know. We're still starting, we're still getting going. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. I'll try to eat this pizza though.